I remember when I was a little kid, it wasn't too long ago, when I used to have this really weird obsession. I used to love to play with what I called good garbage. Now, this garbage ranged from old paper towel rolls to milk cartons, and my favorite of all, old ketchup bottles. There's a picture of me when I was a little kid playing on the kitchen floor with, in this case, milk cartons, and that was my mom up there. And whenever she used to cook or clean, I was always nearby playing with this good garbage. I used to love it. I loved it so much so that for one of my birthdays, when it was coming around the corner, my mom didn't really know what to get me, and nothing pleased me more than this good garbage. So she actually wrapped it up and gave it to me for my birthday. Yeah, I still remember that birthday like it was yesterday, and I couldn't have been more pleased. But Mom, understand that this good garbage is not going to suffice for my 17th birthday coming up in a little bit. So I never knew what this interest for good garbage would lead me to until a few summers ago when I was 15 years old. I went to visit my uncle in San Francisco so I could go to work with him and also so I could take a look at colleges, just so I can get a better idea of what I wanted to do when I was older. Through this time, I was taking notes in my notebook, gathering brochures, and collecting other various items along the way. Until one day, I just found myself overwhelmed, carrying this big pile of stuff with me from place to place to place. So I asked my uncle for a bag to hold all this stuff in. He went into the garage, and a few minutes later comes back in with a garbage bag full of conference bags that he had received over the years. Now, when I saw these barely used bags, I was astonished. These conference bags, as you can see here, range from tote bags to messenger bags like these to barely used backpacks. And they sparked a conversation. My uncle went on to explain that these bags are typically used for the duration of the conference, but are then either thrown in the garbage or in this case, thrown in his garage and never used again. I had this idea. I thought, what if there was a way to let conference attendees, like my uncle, easily and conveniently donate their conference bags? Because when I heard that those bags were actually thrown away, and when I saw those bags just sitting in that garbage bag, there was one overwhelming thought, and it was, man, that is some good garbage, you know? People around the world could certainly use these bags in their everyday lives, right? So that night, I thought of Bags to Riches, a nonprofit organization that would collect and donate unwanted and extra conference bags. So there I was, 15 years old. I don't even think I was old enough to play T-rated video games, yet I had an idea for a nonprofit organization. I didn't know where to start. I didn't know anyone in the conference industry or anyone that dealt with promotional items like conference bags. On top of that, I had no work experience. I thought I was stuck. But here's the funny thing. You see, we're kids, right? Teenagers like us are notorious for being naive, for not thinking things through all the way before doing something. And that aspect, ironically, turned out to be a key strength for me and for Bags to Riches. Now let me explain. In my opinion, the most important step in any project, movement, or organization is the execution. Because an idea that is not executed is the equivalent of no idea at all, right? They have the exact same amount of impact, which is zero. Something I've learned is that you must have a bias for action, not to overthink. At a certain point, you just have to go out there and do it. For me, I started to make an elevator pitch. Now, an elevator pitch is like a 2-minute summary of your mission or your goal, and I shared mine with anyone and everyone around me. And let me tell you, I was amazed on how many people accepted the idea of Bags to Riches with open arms and supported me all the way through. I called up conferences and asked them if they wanted to implement Bags to Riches at their next event. I just looked them up on Google and gave them a call, which means conferences would have boxes set up where attendees could easily and conveniently drop off their bags when they're done using them. The bags would then be collected and given to people in need. Simple as that. I made a website, brochures, posters, and other devices to help spread the word. I just started doing things, and sure enough, in a matter of weeks, I struck my luck. I had my first conference lined up for Bags to Riches in Las Vegas. So, like you said, I wasn't old enough to drive yet. So luckily, my dad took the time off of work, and we drove down from Salt Lake City, Utah, that's where we're from, to Las Vegas, Nevada, with an empty car. We came back with over 320 conference bags collected from the very generous attendees. This is at the Utah Youth Mentor Project, a great organization that helps at-risk youth locally in Salt Lake City, Utah. They do great stuff with the bags. Today, we're a little over 1 year since the first conference for Bags to Riches, about 1.5 years since the idea came about. To date, we've collected and donated over 2,000 conference bags, putting them in the hands of the homeless, underprivileged youth, and refugees all across the nation. Thank you. This is at the Road Home Shelter, a great organization locally in Salt Lake City, Utah, that helps the homeless. That was a few months ago, and they do great stuff with the bags. We also love to help underprivileged youth. Around the nation, there's a lot of kids that are deprived of very basic resources. However, they do have access to one of the most beautiful things, education. That's why Bags to Riches loves to give conference bags, like those backpacks, to underprivileged youth to help encourage them to take advantage of these educational opportunities. Another really important aspect that we're all taught as such young kids is to share, right? To share with those in need. And with Bags to Riches, I'm giving conferences, corporations, and individual attendees the opportunity to share their bags with those who need them the most. Now, we are kids, right? People do not expect us to know everything, which is why it's okay to make mistakes. I know I did, and I know I will. But if a kid can start Facebook, then why can't I start something? You see, the days of kids not being able to have a big impact are long gone, and I'll tell you why. Because with current technologies, we are all a double click away from immediate and almost unlimited access to information, transparency, communication, and support. We are empowered and therefore capable of making an impact. Like I mentioned earlier, when the conference bags are donated, they don't only serve a humanitarian purpose, but they also serve an environmental purpose as we are preventing the use of plastic bags. Bags to Riches, to date, has eliminated an estimated 200,000 plastic bags from use, as we're trying to pursue another goal that we're all taught as young kids, to clean up our mess. Every day, I go out there and work for Bags to Riches to pursue one main goal, which is to collect and donate every single unwanted and extra conference bag in the world to change the world. My name is Akbar, and my passion came from playing with good garbage. Thank you.
Yes, that was great. Akbar, thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.